Hey, what's happening, everyone? It is I, the man, the myth, the mustache, Tim here with a brand new video for you. Welcome to part 16 of What If Deku Was an All-for-One Fan. Please sit back and relax because you are in for a very big treat, and it's gonna be fun. So, with that out of the way, let's get the story going, shall we? Plans had been set in motion, reports had been issued, the game was about to begin, and its players, the heroes of the world, the League of Villains, and the Shie Hisakai. Due to the troubles of heroes and heroes in training quitting and returning to civilian status after All Might's demise was broadcast worldwide, and All for One had made his reappearance to the world, Japan was forced to initiate the hero conscription program. Any hero in training who had completed a licensing examination was permitted to be conscripted into a task force headed by Stars and Stripes. They called themselves the Symbols of Hope. In the back rooms of the Hero Commission, a separate group was being formed, composed of underground heroes and vigilantes that held the League of Villains in pure disdain for the Hosu Massacre, the fall of Eye Island, and the deaths of Stain and All Might. Each member of this shadow faction of newly created heroes had been granted permission to use lethal force on the League as final resort, except for All for One, Golden Fox, and Tactikill. This shadow faction of heroes were referred to as the Swords of All Might. Tactikill sat in his office, looking over pictures Chronostasis had provided him of the young girl known as Eri. The scars were the work of a man who deserved no mercy. Tactikill was going to do worse than just kill Overhaul. He was going to bring about his ruin. Tactikill equipped his new gear, breathing deeply as he turned to look over the League of Villains, preparing themselves for the plan, and what was about to unfold. Tactikill wandered through a warp gate, flanked by his friends and family, all donning their villain aliases. Golden Fox, Feedback, Dobby, Mind Terror, Spinner, and Spectre, who was turning invisible before she crossed over. The group of villains emerged into a meeting room, coming face to face with Overhaul, the 8 Bullets, and some of his Yakuza thugs. I thought we were going to have a one-on-one conversation, Tactikill. Then again, I brought my own backup just in case. So I suppose we're of equal mindsets when it comes to treading lightly around people of power. Overhaul sighed, leaning back in his leather chair, narrowing his eyes at Tactikill and his entourage.
What can I say? I wouldn't be alive if I didn't play the game tactically.
Tactikill chuckled under his voice-altering helmet. Touché, Overhaul replied with a cold tone. So you want to work together? Why? Your league seems to have everything you could possibly need, so why would you need to align with us of all people? Although we're branded as villains, we're hardly the normal kind you're used to dealing with. Tactikill slowly sat down with Golden Fox on the couch across from Overhaul. Dobby stood beside Golden Fox, and Feedback stood beside Tactikill. Mind Terror stood behind the group as Spinner leaned against a wall, watching the Shie Hisakai closely, keeping his hands in his pockets. Suddenly, Tactikill heard contact over his helmet from Labrava, giving him an update on the others' missions.
Tactic, this is Labrava. Everyone is mobilized. Kuragiri, Mustard, Compress, Magni, Inquisitor, and Gentle are en route to extract the child from the labs, thanks to Chrono's maps. But we have a problem. Heroes. And they look serious. There are a lot of them, and from what Twice can see through his scope, their frontal assault force is being led by Mirko and Ryukyu. But there is a secondary assault force, Toga and Gremlin reported, and they're being led by Eraserhead and Sir Night-Eye. Please advise.
Tactikill stood up abruptly and raised a hand towards Overhaul and pressed his helmet's earpiece.
Thank you, Labrava. Have Kuragiri warp Slaying Mantis and Pentagonist to Toga and Gremlin's location. Hold for further instructions. Overhaul, we have heroes about to assault this place. From what I've been informed, their strongest force is approaching the front gates of this compound. Permission to assist in defending your assets here. Hate for an ally to be taken down by the heroes. Also, from the sounds of it, Your escape route is blocked by another force spearheaded by Eraserhead and Sir Night-Eye.
Tactical stared down Overhaul as he delivered the news after dispatching his orders. Fine. I'm going to assume they found our escape route via the use of Night-Eye's quirk. But to be sure, I'll comb my ranks for traitors once we're done, as should you. You all know what to do. Chrono, Tactical, you're with me. We need to secure my research and pet project. If the heroes get their hands on either, we're both finished. Nodding, the trio departed the room. As the rest of the 8 bullets left the room, Mimic remained behind and was about to use his shot of Trigger to enhance his quirk and merge with the underground hideout's walls, floors, and ceiling, only for his suit to be torn open by an unseen force as he looked around the room confused. A slice slowly began to cut along his throat. Gradually, Spectre appeared behind Mimic as his body slumped to the ground.
Listen close and listen well. Overhaul is no longer calling the shots. If you want your little Yakuza to survive, you'll join the League or we'll ditch you to deal with all these heroes yourselves. As far as any of you are concerned, Tactical, All for One, and Golden Fox are in charge. Now get out of here and spread the word. Oh, and betray us and your dead men.
Spectre smiled sinisterly at the Yakuza thugs in the room, who began to run out the room after Spectre had given them their ultimatum. A metal door opened in front of the villains assigned to extract Eri from under Overhaul's nose, and they were met with a sight that sickened them. They'd all been briefed on what Overhaul had been doing to this young girl. But this? Overhaul wasn't a man. He was a monster who needed to be put down for his crimes. Eri looked up at the group as Compress walked closer to her, kneeling carefully beside her bed.
Hello there, little one. Don't worry, we're not friends of Overhaul, nor shall we ever be, after seeing what he has done to you. Would you like to see a magic trick?
Compress gave a delicate tone as he approached Eri. The small child nodded to him, and Compress pulled from his pocket 4 cards. He showed Eri one of the cards, and then shuffled them quickly. Once finished, he gestured for the little horned girl to select which card she thinks was the one she was shown. Eri picked out a card, but it wasn't a match. Compress put the cards away and held up a finger as he pulled a card from behind her ear. It was a match, the Ace of Hearts. But she remained unfazed. No joy, no excitement, no wonder. Compress sighed as he held his breath, whilst the room filled with Mustard's gas slowly, sending the girl into unconsciousness. Compress reached out towards the sleeping child as Mustard's quirk began to quickly disperse, only for Eri to be snatched from in front of him and a powerful punch smashed his mask off. This video is sponsored by Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that shape the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for faster graphics editing and digital art as a whole. At We the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based and non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginning and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is the industry-standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Click the link in the description to start creating now, and thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. Power! Roared out a young hero who held Eri tightly after almost knocking Compress out for the count in one hit. So, teaming up with Overhaul's Yakuza, huh? Stealing his research and quirk wasn't enough for you villains. You want to kidnap this child too, and do the same with her as Overhaul. Maybe worse knowing your leaders. The extraction squad glared daggers at the hero. How dare he compare them to Overhaul? How dare he compare Izuku and All for One to Overhaul too? Watch your mouth! We are nothing like that abomination Overhaul. Now return Eri to us so we may liberate her as we were tasked, and be a true hero for once. Inquisitor pointed a bladed arm at the hero, marked with the number 1,000,000. Yeah, I'd hardly call saving a little girl from a place like this kidnapping. Otherwise, we may as well say you heroes are gonna kidnap her too. As for Overhaul, he'll get his karma from Tactikill. That's a promise. Magne growled in annoyance. Call it what you will. We have you right where we want you, so come quietly, and things will go better for all of you. An angered and tired voice rang out from behind the villains. Behind them stood Eraserhead, Sardinite Eye, Best Genus, Powerloader, Rocklock, and Sun Eater. Meanwhile, on the streets above, a battle raged on between the heroes and members of the Shie Hisakai, aided by a few Nomu. Mirko went wild in battle, ignoring every Shie Hisakai thug, and only fighting the Nomu that had come to assist. Gang Orca shouted orders towards his vast number of sidekicks as they fought to overwhelm the thugs and Nomu. Hawks and Ryukyu worked in tandem to provide air support, whilst the Wild Pussycats and Mount Lady helped from the ground, all combating the members of the 8 Bullets who had come to the surface as reinforcements: Kendo Rappa, Heikiji Tengai, Deidoro Sakaki, and Rikiya Katsukame. About to activate his erasure quirk, Aizawa felt a stabbing pain in his back as he glanced behind him to see a madly grinning Sun Eater whose face began melting away, exposing Toga's face. Rocklock felt a slashing into his own back as green blades of hair stabbed into him from a smirking, slaying mantis. The other heroes scrambled to fight back against the surprise attack. Powerloader was forced into one of Gremlin's sticky ball traps by both Gremlin himself and Pentagonist. Giving a hand signal, the villains all quickly placed rebreathers on as Mustard unleashed a massive blast of his quirk into the enclosed area. The heroes were holding their breath and fighting blind. Justice, clap! The voice of Melissa's shield roared out as she slammed her hands together, blowing the knockout gas away. Able to see, Night Eye launched several weighted stamps at Mustard's head, knocking the villain out cold. Gradually, the villains were forced back, in the form of the real Sun Eater, Gran Torino, Snipe, and Ectoplasm rounding the corner. Kurogiri was forced to enact the backup plan Tactikill told him, only to do so as a final resort. A massive warp gate encompassed all the present heroes and villains, sending them all to a large open room in the Shie Hisakai hideout. A similar warp gate opened up, bringing in Overhaul, his 8 Bullets, except for the deceased Mimic, Tactikill, and the rest of the League members, except La Brava and Twice. Tactikill looked around, seeing that Kurogiri had fallen back on the last resort and noticing an injured Mustard. Tactikill was now less than pleased with these heroes. Time to hand out punishments for all their sins, and Overhaul was on that list too. The once proud leader of the Shie Hisakai grew irate and irrational, seeing Eri in the arms of a hero. Overhaul went to charge the heroes wide-eyed. His eyes began to grow green and black as he ran, just like Tactikill's. The remaining 8 Bullets could not see this detail. From their position, all they saw was Overhaul's back, and occasionally he'd be blocked from view by stone launching from the ground as he attacked the heroes. Tactikill stood back as he puppeted the man using the power of One for None. But, as fun as this was, it was time to pull the final few strings. Overhaul called out as he fought against Sir Night Eye and Lemillion, whilst the other heroes clashed with the League and the 8 Bullets, or 7 Bullets, given Mimic's demise. Tactikill, I'm leaving the group to you. You must lead the Shie Hisakai. As much as Overhaul fought it, he could not break free of the hold One for None had over him. Every word he spoke that was forced out of his lips stung. Then, another order came into his mind from the terrible quirk of Izuku's design. Never speak again. It didn't matter now. Overhaul couldn't say a word. Soon, a 4th order came into his mind, which broke him down more and more with each command One for None issued, turning Overhaul into a mindless puppet for Izuku to toy with. Pretend to attack Eri. Overhaul shakily charged Lemillion and reached out for Eri with his palm, only for Tactikill to grab him by the throat with his claw. The fighting paused as they watched Izuku steal Overhaul's quirk from him. His screams of pain awoke Eri, who saw Overhaul fall to his knees before Tactikill. The small girl saw the people from before, who were kind to her for the first time in all her memories of this foul place, standing behind Tactikill, protecting him. Then, she looked at the other people in the room and the person holding her, and she squirmed from Lemillion's grasp instinctively and ran towards Compress. As she ran, Eri saw that these other people in costumes had been hurting the nice people who had saved her from her room. In that moment, Eri saw the League of Villains as her heroes, and the heroes as evil allies of Overhaul. Tactikill kneeled beside Eri as she hugged Compress's leg, and he smiled beneath his helmet, turning to look back at the heroes briefly.
Overhaul is all yours. As for poor Eri, I think she wants to come with us, as opposed to you. Guess a gentle hand is better than rushing in screaming battle cries.
Compress knew what was coming, and whispered to Eri not to panic as he activated his quirk and took her into his coat as a marble, and both he and an injured Mustard departed through a warp gate Kurogiri created for them. Tactikill looked towards Kurogiri and nodded. "Are you certain about this, young master? Is it stable?" "Very well, young master. I shall trust your judgment." As Kurogiri spoke, a large warp gate opened, and from it emerged Izuku's personal attack dog, Hizashi, aka Project Ragnarok.
Ragnarok! Kill the heroes except for Lemillion and Eraserhead.
Tactikill coldly issued the order. Then the teen turned to look at the remaining members of the Shie Hisakai's 8 bullets, as Ragnarok and the League members held off the heroes.
Kachisaki said it clearly. I'm the new leader of the Shie Hisakai, and I will not tolerate what he did to Eri. Now fall in line.
Besides Chronostasis and Shin Nemoto, none of the remaining bullets were willing to obey Izuku or All for One, or even Tamura. Therefore, they had to be dealt with. After making their intent known, Tactikill slammed his hand onto the floor, and stone spikes impaled the remnants of the Shie Hisakai.
Kurogiri, get everyone out of here. Ragnarok and I will cover your escape. Nobody in the League is disposable.
Tactikill shouted his orders through his helm as he charged into combat. "So, decided to face us with your personal Frankenstein's monster? If it's just you and that thing, this fight is hardly advantageous for you." Eraserhead called out to Tactikill as his hair began standing up. "Surprise, Sensei!" Catching Eraserhead off guard, Spectre appeared right in front of his face, delivering a harsh slash across it with her retractable claws. The strike decimated Eraserhead's goggles and left slash wounds across both his eyes, leaving the usually calm and collected underground hero panicked and blinded. Sir Night-Eye dodged to the side, barely fast enough, avoiding the same fate. Although Sir could dodge the attacks from Tactikill, his foresight quirk was useless, as were his ranged attacks. Night-Eye had to touch Tactikill to use his quirk on the villain, but with Tactikill, that was suicidal. As Ragnarok faced off and defeated many of the other heroes, he couldn't come to his master's aid when from behind Sir Night-Eye, several black tendrils wrapped around Tactikill and slammed him into the floor. Melissa held out her hand, releasing these tendrils, smiling wide as her whole body shook, struggling to contain Tactikill. As she looked at him, something felt weird, like something was trying to push its way into her mind. But Melissa could feel one for all, forcing the invading presence from her mind. Growling, Tactikill turned to look at Ragnarok, who was struggling against the remaining heroes, Lemillion, and their reinforcements that were pouring in from the entrances to the room.
Ragnarok, obey feedback and Dobby as if they were me. But this next order cannot be disobeyed. Return to the others and keep them safe. Leave me. I'll be fine.
Ragnarok nodded as it fled the room, too quickly for the heroes to stop, leaving Tactikill with the heroes. Ragnarok delivered the news of Tactikill's capture to the rest of the League, who didn't take it well, especially his brother. But after being calmed by both Kurogiri and feedback, he understood Izuku wouldn't sacrifice himself like that unless he had to, and already had multiple plans to escape. Or, that's what they all hoped was the case as they watched helplessly from a distance as Izuku was escorted from the compound and locked up in a specially designed, almost sarcophagus-like device that nullified every quirk he had. Damn it, Izuku. If you mess up and they kill you, I'll never forgive you. Kurogiri, take us home. Tamura sighed, and as the League went through the warp gate, it was only then that they discovered a second battle had been going on while they were away. And that's our video for today, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, there's a little bit of housekeeping to go over with all of you. First, I want to thank our patrons, BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Meals, Adam Zadgel, Zill, Zavbeat03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I also want to thank all of our YouTube members, Toya Costa, Rob the King, Sith Lord 906, CF2364, and Knuckles, Rimiu Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Greer, and Demonized Fox. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, then We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I want to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Please give some love to the writer and the editors, they do a lot of work. Finally, if you like what we do here with the Celestials, I want to extend an invitation to join our team. We only have one caveat: you must be 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord in the link in the description below. With that out of the way, that's it for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have an amazing day. And as always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim, Mustache out.